Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us for today's webinar. My name is David Longley and I'm one of the business development managers here at inspHire. I've been at inspHire for just over 4 years, and as part of my job I engage with many business owners and managers who are looking to get more out of their business by utilising the tools available within the inspHire family of products. inspHire are part of the Kerridge Commercial Systems Group, and we've been providing the rental market a solution since 1997. We've got over 100 employees working in our offices based in the Netherlands, South Africa, Australia, and our headquarters in Nottingham as well. From these offices, we support over 3,500 customers who use one of our 4 core rental products. Today, we're going to be looking at various ways that you can improve your workshop processes using a broad range of inspHire features and applications. And the application we're going to be looking at is inspHire Office. Before we get started, if you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your GoToMeeting control panel. I'll aim to answer these at the end of the presentation or get back to you individually. Now, let's take a look at the agenda for today. So we're going to be looking at general kind of workshop job creation, creating purchase orders on the back of a workshop job, scheduling of engineers. inspHire Mobile can be used for many purposes, even within just workshop itself, workshop templates to make life a bit easier, and also kind of the reporting side of things as well. Before we go into the actual demonstration, I just want to bring up a bit of a question really, just to see where you guys are at the moment when it comes to the workshop. So should on screen see a question coming up now. Do you feel that you could improve the way that you manage the workshop side of your business? So I'll just wait a moment. If you'd be kind enough just to hit yes or no on there, gives us a bit of a rough idea of what we're starting with. That'd be great. Okay, I can see, I think the majority of us have done that, so that's brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just play you a recording of something that I did earlier on that will take you through the workshop module. Okay, so the inspHire workshop module can be used for servicing and repair of your own equipment and hire fleet, and it can also be used for the service and repair of your customers' own equipment as well. So we're going to put a quick workshop job together here. First thing we do is we select the job type. So the first 4 on the list here, service, repair, breakdown and bill of materials, are the kind of off-the-shelf included job types. The rest are all custom. You can call them whatever you wish. For the purposes of today, we're just going to use a repair. Item number, we can start typing an item description or maybe a plant number, and you see it comes up with this nice smart search, so we can easily get into the right asset that we need. We can also do this from other screens as well, so we can right click on an asset if we're in that job, in that record card, and actually book it into the workshop as well. Then we just need to populate the rest of this particular screen with some of this optional information. So account number, if we're going to be linking this back to maybe one of our customers, potentially maybe on the back of a damage charge or something like that, we can actually link it just here. Agreement number, so if you do have any maybe extended warranties, if you've sold an item and you're booking something in, any kind of agreements with customers, you can have those agreements populate just here and obviously report on that. Job manager, so we can assign, if needed, a job manager, so all of your internal workshop engineers can be listed as managers against jobs as well. Service period, so within inspHire we can set up service periods for different assets, so things such as annual servicing, Lola inspections, pat testing reminders, anything that you can think of there that would need some kind of constant reminder. And obviously we have a whole suite of reports that can be used to remind users of when a machine is due a service. So we have a service period, so I'm just going to say that we're going to reset, whilst we're doing this repair, we're going to reset the annual service. And inspHire does also have the ability to create test certificates as well. So we work with you to create those test certificates, and we can incorporate those into your process flow as well. So I've just created one called an annual service test alongside an annual service. We can also capture any meter readings whilst this is going on, whilst we're actually performing this this workshop job as well. Just going to work through some of the tabs along the top here. So again, really with the workshop job, it's as much or as little information that you want to kind of capture. So not all of this will be mandatory or applicable to each and every job that you do. But you can see here under the additionals tab, we've got the relevant job dates. So expected completion date, we can fix that date as well if we know we need this machine back by a certain time. Job description, so we might just put a description in there as to what we're going to be doing. And then we've got the parts allocation. So this is where we actually put together the job now in terms of the parts, the labour, and those kind of things that we're going to need to work with. So what we can do now, building up this list, is we can add any kind of part, labour, or miscellaneous item to this job. So if I wanted to search for a part, again, they live within the stock structure. They're down as a consumable, as an asset. They'll have a buy and a sell price as well. So if I was looking for a new windscreen, I can select there, excavator windscreen. And as you can see, it pulls through my cost price, my sell price as well. If I was doing this job for a customer and I was going to recharge them, there is an option just here to recharge. If I tick it, then obviously it will populate this total charges down in the bottom right. If I don't, it will just be treated as an internal cost, so it will obviously just track the cost there for us. Now, let's say I didn't have enough of these excavator windows in stock, the windscreens in stock. What I can do is I can say, okay, well at the moment, the quantity that I can put onto this job is 0, but actually we now have a to follows, and that's basically, I want to mark on this job that we need an excavator windscreen, and I want to put the job together, but I need to order one of those excavator windscreens, maybe from a supplier. So what we can do here, we have a supplier tab. I can type in who my supplier is for that particular item. We can also view a full purchase order history as well. So if we have several suppliers against one item, we can always go in and view who has given us the best price in the past. We tick this button, create on purchase order, and then what this will allow us to do is actually create a purchase order on the back of this workshop job. So now we've added that, we can now maybe add some labour. So with the labour, there's two ways to do it really. We can put it in as a labour line, so if you are actually wanting to track how many hours each individual workshop engineer is working and what their cost price and their sell price per hour is, we can put them in individually. Or what a lot of our customers do is create a part that's just called labour recharge per hour, and it's just a more generic line, not necessarily tracking each individual engineer. Or if we're going to send this this workshop job to a mobile app, and we might not necessarily know how long it's going to take, we want the engineer to tell us how long it's going to take, what we can do is we can leave this part blank, and when we send it to the mobile engineer, we can have the engineer actually tell us and populate it on the app how long it's taken them to carry out that work. So what we can do now is actually we can create that purchase order that we've just pre-populated, if you like, with that windscreen. So we go into the additionals tab, we click create and create purchase orders. So what this does is it looks at the workshop job that we have. It says, okay, is anything on to follows? Do we need to order anything? And then it will pre-populate this purchase order for us. So you can see this is now the purchase order screen. So it's given me a purchase order number 1018, and it says created from job 967, and the 967 is my workshop job number as well. So in here, if I click on items, you can see I've got that excavator windscreen. I could add any additional items if I wanted to as well. But in its simplest form, if I just click print, you see it creates as a nice little purchase order with all the relevant details on there and the values that I need. That can then be emailed directly over to my supplier. If you're using Microsoft Outlook, we can even pull through things like the email signature, a little bit of pre-populated text there, attaches it as a PDF, and if we click on to, it would open up our address book as well. So then with this purchase order, we've sent it to the supplier, so we're just waiting for it to come back now. So what we can now do is we can head over to the purchasing tab. So once the item has actually been received, we can go in and we can say goods received. And now we have the order number from the purchase order. If we don't know what the order number was, we've got this magnifying glass here, so you can see there's different ways that we can actually view and find the order that we placed. So there's my order for the excavator windscreen. If I double click into it, you can see here it's now showing actually that this was created from job 967, and we've got this tick box here, allocate to follow items. So that's saying basically that we're going to put that back onto the job that it's required. So it's not going to go into general stores or my general stock. It's going to go directly over to that workshop job. So if I accept and click finish, you can see we then get an audit trail, and it shows here created from this job and to follow items were allocated. So that windscreen is now allocated to that job. We can now carry out that job as we need to. We can also, just to finish the process off, we can go through the process there. Purchase order, invoice received. So we can go back into it and just receive the supplier invoice. Put an invoice reference. Double click into the line if we want to there, just to double check that the actual costs are correct. Accept. And process that invoice received. That will create a financial transaction that we can then post over into our selected accounts package that we're linking to. If we go back into the workshop job now, so if we're not using inspHire Mobile, for example, and we're still maybe wanting to do this paper-based, absolutely fine. We've got these different different documentation that we can tap into here. So we can do estimates, pro forma invoices, job sheets, completion notes, and return notes as well. And these will influence the job status that we have as well at the moment for this. Now, if you have quite a few workshop managers and you'd like a process of being able to actually allocate different jobs to different people, we have a facility for that as well. So if I just head over now to our workshop scheduling system. So this is the inspHire scheduler. So along the top here we have all of the jobs, the workshop jobs that have the status of work in progress. So these are unallocated jobs, and if we actually see, there's our job 967 just there that we created a moment ago, with the description of broken window. Then in the bottom half we have the calendar of the workshop engineers that we have working for us. If I click on this this little chap just here, you can see it actually allows me to select whose calendar I want to see. So if none are selected, it shows all of them. If I just select on my own there, what I can then do is I can click, drag and drop onto a particular day and time. I can put what I think it will take to actually fix this. So I could say, okay, well, I think it's going to take a couple of hours to do this now. We can add any notes that we want to there as well, and we can save and add that into the calendar for me to work on. So we can obviously build this up now and actually build a schedule. So if somebody's role is to actually allocate and assign the jobs to the workshop engineers, we can work with this particular screen to organize everyone's workload. You can view all of the calendars in here, and then what we're able to do is actually send this job to inspHire Mobile as well. So to send the job to the mobile engineer, we right click and we hit send to mobile. We can enter a mobile message, so it could be anything, you know, complete ASAP. Hit send on that, and you can see down here we've got a new message has arrived on our mobile emulator that we're working on. So the engineer would just jump into this, a new mobile message has arrived. Down at the bottom here, job 967. We can open this up. And if you notice in the background here as well, you can see that on the tile, you can see that we've got this kind of dotted line that goes across from one side to the other, which actually shows that it's work in progress, that the job has been sent. So back in the mobile app, we've got the status of work in progress, we've got the job manager, then we just work through the tabs along the top here. So with the start, click on that. And what that can do, I'll show you later on with the labour line, it can actually calculate how long the workshop engineer has been in this particular job on the mobile app, and that can feed through into how many labour hours we need. Items, select the item we need. Now we have the excavator windscreen there. Now if the workshop engineer determines that there are additional parts that need to be allocated, they can do that as well on this screen here. So that would, by clicking add, it would tap into the consumables and the parts that we have. Inspection, so if you remember, we did set up an annual inspection, so a check sheet, so that's asking us to complete that now. So we just go in, and then what we can do here, against each of the criteria, which obviously you can set and customize, we can say whether it's a pass, a fail, or we're going to skip that one entirely, and the results that we can type in are alphanumeric as well. So we could pass all of them, maybe we'll just skip one of them, but you've got the overall result there as well. So we capture the signature just for this part of the test. We save that down. Okay, so we've completed that part of the inspection. So we're now actually, this would be the time where we're actually carrying out the work and we're doing the actual job. And then labour, you can see we've got pause and we've got stop. So if we're wanting to obviously pause the timer in the background, we can do that. Maybe if we're going on lunch, for example, or we can stop it completely. And as you can see there, it's just giving me 0.02 of an hour. But what I can do is obviously I can just amend that. And I can say, right, okay, we're just going to put an hour on to complete this, or maybe 2 hours to complete this, this windscreen. Pop any notes in. We can capture meter readings as well, so maybe there's it's brand new 50 on the clock. We can capture photographs at any point as well. And then we can say, was the job completed, yes or no, because it may be quite a big job, we need to come back tomorrow. So we could say no, and it would still stay within our jobs list. Printed name, signature, save it down, and we click finish, and that's the job done for the engineer. So if we go back into inspHire Office, you can see now that we've got a cross going across this rectangle for this job. That means it's completed. So if we go in and actually view this job, so we view it in inspHire. So this now allows us to view what we've done with the job. If we go over to additional, you can see here we've now got fitter completed, when it was completed, and we've got show signature and mobile actions. So you can see there's the signature for the overall job, start and end time as well. Any images would appear down here below. And then we did also carry out a test. So you can see here annual service test. If I click on this little clipboard for the test results, there are all the results that we had. And inspHire can also create the actual test certificate for us as well. So if I just click print, zoom in on that. So you can see it tells us obviously gives it a test certificate number, what type of test it was, the item, obviously all the criteria that we put in, whether it was an overall pass or fail, and then we've got the signature down here as well. And again, that will stay against the history, if you like, of this item number as well. So now we can complete this job, we can post over any costs or any charges, and then we can complete the job, which will then make the item available once again. If we just head back over to the mobile app for a moment, so with inspHire Mobile, compatible with Android devices, what we're able to do, or what the workshop engineer is able to do, is actually view their jobs on a day-by-day basis, and they can actually also use it as like a working list, so you can see any of the jobs that are completed, any of the jobs that are outstanding, so they could work through and be completely self-sufficient in terms of their workload. Obviously this can also be populated, of course, by somebody in the back office using the inspHire scheduler. They can create new ad hoc jobs as well. So maybe they've gone out on site for a breakdown and the customer said, oh, actually, whilst you're here, is there any possibility you could just have a look at this for us? So they could create a new workshop job there. Also for new customer owned items, and they could also view any workshop jobs that are in the system as well. Now I just wanted to show how quick and easy it is also to actually create a breakdown job. So if you have any engineers that are maybe mobile, go out and repair the equipment whilst it's on customer's site, we can actually keep track of that within inspHire. And I'm just going to use the inspHire asset tracker as well, just to highlight any of the assets that I have on hire. So inspHire asset tracker basically just allows us to view where our assets are on a map. If you've got any kind of telematics systems linked, maybe like JCB Live Link, Track Unit, CanTrack, anything like that, then we can have this tracked on a map here. So I've got an asset just here. So I can click on it. Tells me where that item is, and I could also view my engineers. So mobile users could be linked on, so your workshop engineers could have an inspHire mobile device, and you'd be able to see where they are in real time. So you could choose whoever's closest to that marker can actually go for that job. And you can see it's linked on this contract here, 3440. So we highlight that, we can go down to create job, and then we've got breakdown just there. So from this map, and also from a contract, if you're not using the asset tracker, we can actually create a breakdown job. We can say it's not starting, create job, and then you'll recognize the screen that it actually populates. Just populates it with a brand new workshop job that we can then go in. And you see it links it back to that contract as well, and puts the customer details in there as well for us. So obviously that then would allow us to, again, as before, put together maybe a parts allocation if we know what parts are needed. Maybe we don't, because the description was it's not starting, so we'd need to send a blank job to the engineer, allocate it through the inspHire scheduler, and then the engineer, once they're on site, would be able to allocate the parts, allocate the labour, and complete the job, and put any costs and charges against that job as well. Now, I did mention earlier on that inspHire's workshop can be used not only for your own equipment and your own hire fleet, but also for your customers' own equipment. And that's where we can create a new workshop job here. We can select the job type, we'll choose a service, and then here where we have item number, we can toggle between item number and customer's item. And we can add a new customer's item. We can give it an item number, item description, capture the serial number, who it belongs to. We can also set up service periods as well for customers' equipment. So just like we do with our own, if something's due maybe, I don't know, an annual service or a pat test every so often, we can set that up in here, and we can actually remind the customer that their equipment is due a service. We can also view all of our customers' equipment in the Customer Equipment Quick View. So I've just typed in a customer here, ABS Garages, and they've got a Hayter lawnmower. So that's their equipment. I don't hold that, but I've got a record of it. So when they bring it in, I can see a full service history or a full workshop history that it's had. So a service or repair, what the dates were, what the statuses were as well. So we can fully manage all of the customer's own equipment as well. So we'd go through the same process here. Maybe if we do actually just go through that Hayter lawnmower, we can select a contact. You can see it's populated it with the account just there as well. Again, same principle as before. We can add a service period to reset it. We could add a test code if we're going to be doing that as well. We can add a job manager. But what I want to just show you here actually is that we can do parts allocation and actually recharge the customer and create an invoice at the end. So if we're just going to do, let's say, an oil change, for example, so we can select our oil, put a filter on, tick the recharge button. And you can see there now, not only has it put the cost on, but it's also put the total charges as well in the bottom right hand corner. We'll just add some oil on there as well, recharge. And then with labour, again, same as before, we can add obviously an individual workshop engineer, or we can just put a non-stock labour line, labour recharge per hour. We'll just put an hour on there and we save it. Okay. And as you can see there, it's totted up for us all of the charges. If I go back to this screen here, maybe the customer's after an estimate. So we can have inspHire create a quotation that you could then send to your customer and email off to them. So there's the job estimate. And then when we want to actually carry out this job, we can just print a job sheet. Again, we could send this to mobile. We could have it all catered for, either mobile or paper-based. So there's the job sheet. And then when we've actually completed this, we can do a completion note, a returns note as well. But what this will allow us to do is when we click post here, and we post this job and we've actually carried it all out, we can have inspHire workshop module actually create an invoice for us that we can then send to our customer as well for the work that we've done. Okay, then we can just complete the job, and that's that job done. And that, by creating that invoice as well, what that does is it puts a financial transaction in the month end tab where we have post sales ledger invoices that will then be in there ready to be sent into the accounts package as well. Another part of the workshop that I'd like to show you now are inspHire job templates. So it may be that you carry out the same type of servicing or the same kind of jobs with the same parts day in, day out. So to make it quicker and easier to actually put those jobs together, we've created job templates. So if we just put one together here, open up a blank workshop job. If I click on the copy button, we can either copy a previous job and take everything over into a new one, or we can use a template. We can set up various templates for various purposes. I've got an annual generator service here as an example. If I just copy that over, you can see what that's now done is it's populated it as a job. I've put a quoted price in there. It's got the service period that it's going to reset, and it's got the test that we're going to carry out as well. I can now add a generator in there. And then if I head over to parts allocations, you can see it's actually already allocated the parts for me that I need as well. I can obviously amend these, I can add, and I can remove as well. inspHire Office boasts over 80 reports that can be used for day-to-day analysis, and some of those include workshop reports. So you can see an example of some of them here. So workshop profit, breakdown of charges and costs for jobs by part type with profit amounts and margins. We've got an analysis of workshop jobs in detail. We can look at how our fitters are performing as well, and then any internal costs that we'd have for internal jobs. As an example, you can see I've got the workshop profit one just here. So for each job, you can see the status, what labour, any parts, what the charge and the cost is, and what the profit, and then the overall margin as well as an example. And we've got the workshop costs as well. So this will be for internal hire fleet. And as you can see, again, it breaks it down by the item number description. Again, we can filter through to the job number. And then we've got the individual parts that were added and the totals there as well. Okay, so hopefully you found all that information useful and informative, I hope. What I'd just like to do now on the other side of the webinar is just give you another poll question. If you'd be so kind as to just answer. So based on what we've covered today, do you feel confident that inspHire could help improve your workshop management? Okay, we've got quite a few answers coming in there. Thank you very much. That's brilliant. Thank you. Okay, so again, thank you everyone. Appreciate you being here and joining me for the webinar on workshop today. Hope you found the content of the webinar informative and useful as well. Attached to the webinar, you can find a PDF file for today's presentation. A link to the video recording of the session will be sent to you after the webinar for you to replay the content. And there is also a very quick feedback survey at the end of the webinar, if you'd be so kind as to complete that as well. If you'd like to discuss anything you've seen today or anything in general about inspHire Office, obviously there's a lot more to it than just the workshop, then please reach out to myself or to a member of our sales team, and we're more than happy to assist. Thanks again for joining us today, and we'll see you again next time.